Well, good afternoon, everybody. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather, and we talked about how the chances of severe weather had been pushed southward a little bit, been reduced a little bit, but this storm still wants to show off. So you can see this one here. This is a hail threat, and really, I've looked at the radar on this one, and it really intensified very briefly. Looks like it's now starting to weaken already a little bit. This warning goes until 3:30, so it still has quite a bit of time on it, and I don't know if it's going to need all of that time there, but it's moving about 45 miles per hour, moving at a pretty good distance there as it rolls on to the east northeast and is headed towards Hillsborough. Now, we do have other storms out there, but obviously this is going to be the storm that kind of has our focus. Let's minimize fewer frames here, please. And there we go. So this is the storm that we are looking at. So it's moving fairly eastward, maybe a little bit northeastward. Northeast has kind of been the trend, but we've seen a little bit of a right turn with this one. And that's fairly common with some of these severe storms. And as this one moves towards Hillsborough, it still probably has some hail in it. The warning itself was for $half sized hail, but it looks like that might have been reduced ever so slightly here. So this storm looks like it might have just kind of peaked and really intensified and really pulsed up, and then now looks like it could be weakening ever so slightly as it moves on to the east. And we'll take a broader look here just to kind of show you there's kind of just this line of storms. There's one back towards Hamilton, one back over towards Richland Springs and San Saba as well. And this little one here, which just went through west, kind of headed towards Mount Calm, maybe Hubbard areas there in southern Hill County, so just a very small cell. But this one here, a lot of lightning with this one, but it's not severe at this point. So really the only severe storm we have is the one here right over Whitney that is headed towards Hill County. And if we take this even farther, as I mentioned, we do have one other severe storm back down to the southwest, and then just this kind of broken little line here. Now, I will tell you, in Hamilton County here, they've already gotten quite a bit of heavy rain. There may be a bit of a flood issue there because you can see that these are kind of training over these areas. So that might be a developing concern if we continue to see that trend going. But for the moment, the areas that we are most focused on, of course, are going to be right here in our core counties. There's the storm that prompted that severe thunderstorm warning, as well as the storm moving through parts of Somervell County there at Glenrose and moving into parts of southwestern Johnson County as well. Now, I know we have the festival going on right now in Waxahachie. We have Scarborough's Hollow, I believe, opening soon if they haven't opened already over there west of town. So different things going on in our area that are probably watching these things very closely. So as these storms continue on, they may begin to impact those areas. But the good news is I'm not looking at too great a severe threat. I think what we may end up seeing this afternoon is a lot of these storms that very quickly intensify, and then they kind of hold there for a little while, and then they weaken a little bit. The other good news is after this afternoon, this evening, we're done with storms for a while. Now, I know that we could use all the rain we can get because we've had these drought conditions in place. The forecast this week just looks immaculate. It looks wonderful. So we are okay, just checking some updates that are coming in to the phone there. So this is the only severe storm we have right now. And again, it does look like it is weakening. Let me show you that right over here. Let me grab the vertically integrated liquid. And let me show you the trend here. Kind of rock this back and forth. Here's the storm as it was entering Hill County. There you can see that very well defined. You see all that gray. That's all of that severe hail there. But the very next frame or two, you can see it weaken, and then you can see it falling apart. So that's the good news there, is that we're not looking at anything too eye-opening at this moment. Looks like that storm may be getting ready to pulse down ever so slightly. Give me just a moment here. Okay, so just got some folks checking in. So that's what we're looking at here. No hail really looking in this storm here. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of folks asking about all of your towns. Hey, here's what's going on here and there. So here's the whole area. and there's nothing headed towards Corsicana, nothing headed towards Ellis County at this moment. Still a good ways away. So we still have a fair amount of distance and time, I think, before anything gets to Waxahachie or Corsicana. Thank you. I don't know if it's Carrie or Kari, but thank you for the Cash App. Greatly appreciated there. So this storm, this is what prompted that severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to be moving east-northeast. So I think this one in particular, I think as far as this goes, possibly far southern Ellis County, possibly into Navarro County here. I know there's folks in Ennis and Waxahachie with different things going on outdoors right now. I think that for the most part, I think this storm may be headed away from those storms, or those areas, I would say, probably moving again more towards Navarro County is where I would be more focused on that. And then storms headed to Glenrose, south of Cleburne there. That's going to be another storm. This one, again, not severe, but it is a concern if you're outdoors because there is a lot of lightning with that one in that area. So this is the whole, you can see the whole area here. And again, put this into motion for you. There are other showers popping up behind it. So we have a pretty nice little, this is kind of what we saw in the models, right? Just kind of this nice little big batch of showers and thunderstorms behind these storms. Not a whole lot of severe weather, just mainly these two storms that we're watching. So the heavier storms there in Glenrose headed towards Cleburne, and then this one severe storm. This one moving more kind of pulling eastward. We talked about that right turn. So that's pulling a little more eastward, probably towards southern Ellis County, and then on towards Navarro County here. So there may be a little bit of a gap. I know somebody was asking about Grandview. Grandview might get a little bit of a gap here, but you will have storms in your proximity at least to be concerned about. So it's worth watching for those areas specifically. Just want to make sure I have my screens here to where I'm going to get the latest information here. And still, I'm seeing some damage. Looks like for the Fort Worth storm last night, it's looking like the National Weather Service has issued a report stating that so anybody following that story, looks like it's straight line winds, and there's going to be a lot of drama on social media about that, but they can litigate that on their direction. So there's going to be some dark clouds out there. There's going to be some dark skies, but make sure you're watching this live stream because we will keep you informed as these storms move through. This storm is moving towards Hillsborough right now. Let's kind of get zoomed into Hill County because I know there's a lot of folks that are there wondering exactly what's going to happen, exactly where it's going to go. This storm is headed towards the Hillsborough area. It looks like it's probably going to stay mostly south of Itasca and Covington and Carl's Corner. But the heaviest part of this storm headed towards Hillsborough right now. This is the storm that, when the warning was issued, was capable of producing half-dollar sized hail. Since that time, it looks like that storm has gone through a little bit of a weakening process here. Again, this is, I think, one of those storms that they intensify very quickly, but they can't always hold that intensity for very long. So it looks like it has weakened somewhat as it's moving through. And again, I know there's a lot of folks that are just joining in. You got to know about this place, that place. Hang with us for a little bit. When you first jump in the live stream, hang around a little bit. See what we're talking about, and you'll get the full context soon enough. I know the first instinct is just jump in and you got to ask questions. Hang with us a little while. We're going to cover all of our area, so everything will be taken care of there. So this is the other storm that we're watching, southern Johnson County over into Somervell County here. Could be some small hail here just west of Blum, but I'm not too terribly concerned about this storm. It looks like it's below severe limits at this point. And so as we continue to monitor all of this, and I'll put all of the area up because I know everybody's seeing those dark clouds out there, and you just got to know about your area. This is secluded right now to Johnson and Hill counties. As far as where this storm is headed, I think this one will probably be moving more, again, east-northeast. So from Italy down to Milford, over into Hubbard and points of southeastern Hill County, but western Navarro County. Those are going to be the areas that I think are going to be most concerned with this storm. I'm not expecting much in Waxahachie, at least not in the short term. Not expecting too much in Ennis in the short term either. So that's what we're watching here. This is the storm that prompted that severe thunderstorm warning, but there's also plenty of lightning and heavy rain with this storm over farther to the west as well. So there we have an update, and again, that's just kind of reinforcing this storm heading a little more kind of east-northeast here. I haven't seen a whole lot of wind with this one. Yeah, we can see some gusty winds here with this storm, but I'm not seeing anything that is too intense here. Not anything that has me too worried about damaging straight line winds, those kinds of things. The Storm Prediction Center just updated their. Let's see what they did here. Just updated their severe weather risk, and it always takes a minute for the phone to open that. So essentially, the slight risk just goes right above this storm. It's always funny how they update these maps. Always funny how they update those in the middle of a situation. But that's, neither here nor there. Let's put this into motion for you again. So this storm, again, took more of a right turn. So moving a little more easterly. I've got several folks asking about Cedar Hill. It's well south of there at this point, but this particular storm could make it that direction. But we still have some time. I know when you're looking up, it looks like that storm's about to be right on top of you. This storm is still quite a ways away from you down south of Cleburne. So that's the good news. It's not too close to you. Again, it looks like it. It sounds like it. Feels like it when you're out there. Looks like it's right on top of you. These storms are still a fair distance away from that area. So Glen Rose, Cleburne. Glen Rose getting it now. Headed towards Cleburne in the next few minutes. Grandview, you could get clipped by some of this as well. And then the second storm continues to kind of have that rightward movement here. So Italy, Milford, down to Hubbard, Penelope, parts of southeastern Hill County may need to watch this storm as well. So this is the one that prompted that warning. That's the one that we've been talking about. That severe thunderstorm warning continues there. The potential hail size in that storm has been reduced to 1 inch. That's down from 1.25 inches. Like we talked about, this storm has been showing a weakening trend. So that's the positive note on this. That hail core now going on the southern side of Hillsborough there. So this storm continues to just kind of take a right turn and moving towards far eastern Hill County, far western Navarro County at this point. So at this moment, I don't see anything headed directly for Waxahachie. With that said, again, I know that there's a lot of folks that are outside at that festival there. With that said, though, behind it, there's more development here. So this is not severe back behind here. Might be, I suspect, a little bit of a cold pool, something like that, developing back behind here that's creating this new convection. But any of this could move towards that area. So if you are in Waxahachie, you will need to pay attention to this as it is going forward. However, the severe storm looks to stay south of Waxahachie, south of Cleburne. At this rate, if it continues this track, probably south of Ennis as well. But we're just going to have to wait and see. These kinds of storms, they have that right turn, and then sometimes they'll modify that track a little bit. So it just we have to wait and see what that one's going to do. But at the immediate time, Waxahachie, Ennis, I don't think that you have too much headed your way. Cleburne, the severe storm stays south of you, but this is the storms that we're watching headed towards the Cleburne area. So I've got questions about, let's see, Garrett, Waxahachie, Maypearl, Cedar Hill, Red Oak. So everybody just got to know about one location or another. So again, this storm headed eastward, and then this one here moving more northeast. So we're talking about Midlothian, Waxahachie, Red Oak, Cedar Hill. those areas not really under the gun at the moment. You don't have anything coming on top of you right now, so it'll take a little time for us to see if these storms are going to continue to hold their intensity as they get closer to you, if that track is going to modify at all. So we will be monitoring that, of course. Now, this storm in Hill County, we have to focus on the most intense of these. Does look like it's intensifying again. It's beginning to pick up intensity once again. So here's the storm right over the Hillsborough area right now. This is what prompted the severe thunderstorm warning. This could be intensifying again. We see this all the time. You see these storms that they intensify and then they weaken and then they intensify and then they weaken again, back and forth and back and forth. And it looks like it may be on the upswing again. So we could be looking at quarter to $half sized hail in this particular storm. This warning goes until 3:30. This storm itself moving eastward, again, towards parts of eastern Hill County, western Navarro County here. So in Blooming Grove, Milford, Frost area, Italy, those areas you need to be watching this storm. It looks like the hail may stay south of Italy at this point if it continues that rightward motion here, but that is just dependent on it holding that track, which at this point does seem likely. We also, again, have these storms moving right into the Rio Vista area, headed a little bit towards Grandview, may clip there, and then northern into Johnson County. I don't have, again, I know that there's a lot of folks in Waxahachie that, again, feel like this thing is right on top of them. It's fairly a decent distance south of you and looks like it's headed due east, or at least trying to pull that direction. So I'm not immediately concerned about Waxahachie at this time. Obviously, you want to be watching because there is more activity behind this, but that's just what we're seeing, in terms of those areas. Okay. So, Jessica, you're asking what's the timing of this? That's a very open-ended question. If you're asking about a specific area, I can probably help that. We got to know some more specific information to answer that question. But the storm in Hillsborough, this is the focus right now. This is the storm that really is the most severe at this moment. So this is going to be the one that poses the biggest risk here. But again, this is not a major storm at this point. We're looking at hail of quarter to $half sized hail. So let's kind of broaden this out. Again, I know that there's folks all over our area with a lot of questions on this. So we just got a report of hail size about 1 inch over in Whitney. So that we do have a confirmation of hail earlier when this storm was in the Whitney area of bringing some hail there. And again, plenty of convection here. Yes, Hank, I know there's a football game going on at Corsicana right now. We'll try to get some timing on that in a moment. But there's plenty of convection over Bosque County that behind this storm will bring more rain, possibly more lightning and thunder. So considering those outdoor events. Now, as far as when this storm is headed to, if it makes it to Corsicana, and again, that depends largely on this storm holding that due east track. If it does move into the Corsicana area, we're probably looking at that moving in, I would say, somewhere between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. So that's what we're probably looking at. Somebody asking about the Venus area, talking about your app. I can't explain your app to you. They're all just sporadic and all over the place. But these storms will be headed eventually towards, once they move on the other side of Cleburne, still on the south side of Cleburne right now. So it's not anything immediate. But Venus, Alvarado, Burleson areas, Joshua there, I would say probably going to be in the next, I would say maybe 3:30 or so for that particular storm. So I see somebody asking about frost, and yes, this could be in the frost area in the next 20 minutes or so as this continues kind of an east-northeast track. And this one moving, I believe, let's see if that's still the same speed here. Yeah, so it says moving east at about 45 miles per hour. So it's moving at a decent clip. It's not moving that quickly, but it's moving at a decent speed here. As far as Mertens, I mean, I would be watching this in the Mertens area. Mertens, Hubbard, Dawson, definitely be watching this storm because you may get clipped. You may not get the most intense part of this storm, but you could get clipped by the storm nonetheless. And yes, hearing, yeah, so dark clouds and thunder visible outside of the storm. But again, the thing is that even though you got the dark clouds above you, those are spreading out from the storm. So you're not immediately under it, and you can kind of tell that here too. So as the green is kind of spreading out, you can see where that anvil is spreading out. It's going to feel like it's right on top of you, but it's a good distance south. Still, I mean, lightning can strike fairly far outside of a storm, so you still have to be paying attention to it. But just a reminder, it is not quite right on top of you, but it is getting there. Rough time for Maypearl. If you get something in Maypearl, it's not a guarantee at this point, depending on this other storm farther to the northwest here. If it does impact the Maypearl area, that will probably be in the next 20 minutes or so. Venus, Midlothian, again, probably in the next 30 minutes or so for that area. So this particular storm, let's take another look at the hail probabilities here. It does look like that hail core may have kind of rebuilt there. It's, south of Hillsborough, just a small hail core here. So not anything, not as dramatic as it looked closer to the Venus area here. And we had a confirmation of 1 inch sized, 1 inch hail there, basically quarter-sized hail for that area. But right now, not looking like anything too terribly intense, but it has the potential. That's why that severe thunderstorm warning continues, because this storm can very quickly intensify again. And if we look at the history of it here, you can see that. So this is just on the other side of Whitney. It weakens a little bit, you can see here, and then it begins to intensify a little bit, and then it's already starting to shrink. So this is one of those storms. It's going to pulse up, pulse down. It's going to go back and forth. And it's going to continue that trend probably as it moves eastward, again, towards parts of eastern Hill County, western Navarro County, possibly far southern portions of Ellis County for this particular storm. This is the one that is prompting that severe thunderstorm warning. Heather, going to Scarborough in an hour, what's the chances it will be raining the whole time? Well, I would say definitely pay attention. I would imagine 1 hour from now, these storms will be gone, but we may still be dealing with some of the rain behind all of this. So that is worth keeping in mind here. But there is a lot of lightning in this particular storm. Martha, starting to hear thunder here in April. How long do you think the storm will last? Well, that's a hard question to answer because a lot of it depends on how much of this is still hanging around. Depends on if those storms farther to the southwest continue to train. So it's hard to say exactly what's going to be happening an hour from now, but it's possible that we could be dealing with more rain in that area at that time. Gotta let a cat out. You know, they love to wait until we're in the middle of work here to suddenly, oh, I suddenly need to leave the room, right? That's just the way that's the way that they are. Yeah, hearing plenty of thunder all around these storms. Good news is that doesn't necessarily mean it's on top of you, but just make sure you're going indoors if you can. If you're in Waxahachie and you're at that festival, start thinking now about an opportunity to go in one of the shops there, go in a restaurant. It's about 3 o'clock now, so go indoors somewhere, maybe in the Ellis County Museum or somewhere downtown Waxahachie. This is a good time to start thinking about where you want to go inside. It's not right on top of you yet, but this is the good time to start kind of thinking about that and thinking about what that plan is going to be. Michelle, you're asking about sports. Let's see, soccer playoffs at 4 at the Waxahachie Sports Complex. So, I mean, yeah, you could still be getting rain at 4 o'clock. We'll have to see what happens to all of this activity behind these storms. Let's see here. Let's put this back into motion and kind of get a broader view here of what we're seeing. So again, if we continue to see these storms train like they are right over, you see this Hamilton, they got this storm here, so that brought plenty of heavy rain. still more going. So that could increase the flood threat there for that area. So the flood threat will be something that I'm going to be watching here. We had rain yesterday that softened the ground. That's the good news. We don't have dry drought ground anymore, not so much as we did before. So it's not just going to hit it and sit right on top of it for a while. So that's the positive news. But unfortunately, we can still get a lot of heavy rain in a short amount of time. This particular storm here continues to move eastward, so it looks like it will stay mostly south of Milford and Italy. You may still get some rain from this, but the core of that storm staying to the south as this continues to move on to the east. That hail core becoming less organized, so the severe threat with this storm is minimizing temporarily. We've already seen it intensify and then weaken and then intensify again. So we can still see that trend with this storm. But the good news is that this particular storm, the severe storm that we've been watching, probably not headed towards Waxahachie or Ennis at this point. If it resumes a northeasterly track, we could see that move more towards the Ennis area later on in this track, but we'll see what this does. The storms that are moving into the Cleburne area right now, this is the portion of that moving towards Grandview that may skirt western portions of Ellis County. Still looks like that may not quite move into the Waxahachie area, but I will say again, this is the good time if you're at that festival in Waxahachie. And that festival is probably the largest outdoor event we have going on in our area right now. So I'm not trying to show Waxahachie favoritism, but I know there's going to be a lot of folks there that are watching. And by the way, this is why I'm not there. we were supposed to have a booth there at the Go Texan Crossroads of Texas Country Festival. Had to work, so booth spot 140 was empty. I'm sorry, guys, but I couldn't make it down there. I hate to miss it. This is like the first year I've missed that festival in years, and I can't stand it, but we have to put in the work occasionally. So the festival in Waxahachie, there's nothing immediately headed that direction, but as we mentioned when we did that video with Amber a couple of days ago, just, hey, consider going into a restaurant, into one of the antique stores there. Find somewhere indoors to go hang out for a while these storms pass through, and that will be, I think, a wise move to go forward here. So this severe thunderstorm warning continues on for about 27 more minutes. Let's see. So your nephew decided to go get pizza at midnight in Fort Worth and hydrolocked his brand new car motor. Yeah, well, there was some straight line winds and some flooding and things going on in Fort Worth last night. It was a rough situation. Fortunately, I don't see anything that intense going on here, but we do still have plenty of storms moving through our particular area. So I'm just making sure that I'm staying on top of all the updates here. So yeah, you're going to start hearing thunder pretty far away from these storms. And again, that doesn't mean that it's there immediately, but yeah, so there's a festival in Ennis, festival in Waxahachie. There's going to be all kinds. There's a football game in Corsicana as well. There's going to be all kinds of outdoor events going on right now, which is why you definitely want to be paying attention to this. Now, this storm, what I'm interested in as far as the Ennis area, it's not quite there yet, but if this storm abandons this rightward track, this eastward track, it could begin to move more kind of northeasterly here. And so I will be interested to see if that happens, because that could carry that storm more towards the Ennis area, but it's going to take a little while for us to see what that track looks like. So if you're in the Ennis area, there's nothing immediately threatening your area right now, but we will be watching that. Pretty much same with Waxahachie. I think for the most part, Waxahachie and Ennis may miss out on these storms, but you can see that there's more developing out there. So we're not done. We're just getting started. I think most of the evening will be eventful here, and we will see quite a bit of rain eventually over the area by the time this is done. Right? We're just getting started here. Nothing immediately problematic in Ellis County, but we will have to watch this. So this particular storm, the severe thunderstorm warning, has been canceled here. That's the good news. So that severe thunderstorm warning canceled because this storm has weakened. It has kind of lost some of its severity. Saying a question about the lightning. There's still quite a bit of lightning today. I mean, you can't see as much of it in the daytime. It's not as dramatic, but there's still plenty of lightning with these storms. So it's hard to compare daytime and nighttime just visually because you're not seeing it travel. The light's not traveling as far in the daytime, but there's still plenty of lightning with these storms going through Johnson County and with the storm that prompted that severe thunderstorm warning for Hill County. So again, just to get a big picture, a broad view of this, this is just getting started. Okay, here's the storm that prompted that severe thunderstorm warning that continues eastward. Here's the storm moving through Cleburne right now. That's going to be headed up towards Burleson, Alvarado, Venus, Midlothian area eventually. So that kind of wave moving through there. For the moment right now, I know there's festivals in Waxahachie and Ennis as well. Both of those folks, I've been working with organizers of that event as well. I think for the moment right now, both of those places are not immediately in the proximity of these storms, and I think that we'll kind of see these split a little bit. So I think we're going to see this one move northward, this one move eastward. So I think we may kind of have an empty space, hopefully, there in Waxahachie and Ennis. Now, there's still plenty of lightning, so if you can be indoors, that would be preferable as these storms are in the area. But it looks like we may be able to avoid too much impact from these storms as they move through. I know that wind can very quickly impact an event like this, so I'm not seeing a whole lot of wind concerns here. Maybe some gustier winds over in the Cleburne area, and then over towards the Whitney area here too. So, or Hillsborough rather, more accurately, but not seeing anything too concerning as far as the winds are concerned. So mostly just some heavy rain. Let's see, Granbury, asking about Granbury. Looks like it's going to pretty much stay mostly east of Granbury. You have some showers over in Stephenville that may make it towards that area, but right now Granbury seems to be missing out for the most part. So this is what we have. That severe thunderstorm warning in Hill County has been canceled. So this storm weakening below severe limits doesn't mean it can't strengthen again, but it is weakened below severe limits for the time being. And then the storms over in Johnson County, we haven't seen warnings with that yet, but those are moving to the northeast. Again, some of that moving through Grandview. The heaviest of this staying west of Grandview right now. The heaviest moving through Granbury and over towards, or just east of Granbury. So Granbury, Cleburne, that area getting this storm. Not severe at this time, just a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning and thunder. It's very inconvenient, but it's not severe. That's the best way to put that. It's going to be loud, it's going to be heavy, it's going to be gusty, and it's going to be a sight to see, but it's not severe at this time. Neither of these storms are. So no severe warnings right now immediately in our area. I believe the only severe warning is Lampasas County and up just north of there. So that's what we're looking at in terms of what's farther back. And again, this storm, you see that right turn heading into, looks like Coryell County at this point. So I'm not really expecting that severe storm to impact our area too much, but we will continue to monitor that. And of course, I'm working during the tech game. I was looking at these going, oh, it's almost 3 o'clock, so that's when you're going to pop off, right? And sure enough, so hopefully I can catch the maybe the end of that game. We'll see. Here's some heavier activity moving into Bosque County right now. That almost looks like it's moving a little bit eastward as well. So these particular storms, again, this one moving eastward, headed away from Waxahachie. This one headed west of Waxahachie. So one will stay south of Waxahachie and Ennis. The other will stay west of there. So there's kind of an opening here, although we do see now some development of those storms, new development here, right here south of Waxahachie. So that may be what moves up there, and unfortunately may bring, oh, tech game is weather delayed. That's on the nose there. So we do have more developing here. This is not severe, but we do have this kind of filling in. So this is increasing the chances of Waxahachie and Ennis getting some of these storms. So again, if you have the opportunity in Waxahachie, in Ennis, these are both events that are going on downtown. Those downtown shops are great to check out. So this is going to be a good time to go into a restaurant, grab a bite to eat, grab a drink or something like that. Go into some of those antique stores and some of those other shops. Go find one of those indoor places. go support some small businesses. This is a perfect excuse to do that. And, this is going to be the perfect time to start figuring that out because we're not quite there yet, but we are getting close to those storms impacting both of those festivals going on. Between autumn days there in Ennis, as well as the Go Texan Crossroads of Texas Country Festival in Waxahachie. I'm just going to make sure I pull up some messages here. Okay. So, and Rachel, you're asking about Ennis. So, I mean, it'll probably be raining in Ennis in the next, I would say, half hour or so, maybe even sooner than that. These are moving at a pretty good clip. This storm is a little lighter right now, moving a little bit faster now. So, all of this, I would say, in the Ennis area, you're probably going to be impacted sometime in the next 15 to 20 minutes. I said 30 minutes, but seeing how quickly this is moving, I would say within the next 15 to 20 minutes, be in some kind of shelter there in Ennis, just so you're not outdoors. Not really expecting much hail in Venus, Robbie. So that's the good news is the hail threat has really diminished at this point. The main concern for those folks that are outside is going to be lightning. That's going to be the main issue here. I mean, the heavy rain is not convenient, but the lightning threat, that's going to be the greatest issue. And Logan, you're asking about a trunk or treat at 6 p.m. It's hard to say that far ahead at this moment, strictly because we could have this pushing southeast of us by then. So we got to wait and see. I'm not really sure what 6 o'clock is going to look like. It's hard to call because this may all be east and southeast of us by that point, but we have to wait and see. So it's just past 3 o'clock, almost 3:15 now. So hard to say at 6 o'clock. We'll hang around. We'll keep you updated as we get closer, but we have some time to kind of observe this and see what this will do. Rachel, do I think Scarborough Hollows will stay open? I'm not in that decision-making process right now, so I couldn't honestly tell you exactly what they're planning on doing. I know that they are paying attention to this, so they're going to try to keep you safe. My recommendation at Scarborough's Hollow, if you are there right now, is to, like I said, go inside of a shop somewhere, find one of those little indoor shops to go in and support, that kind of thing. So that's going to be a good use of your time there. And hey, if you are thinking about going to Scarborough's Hollow, hang back a little bit, let this stuff pass, let's see what this does. And then, I know people that have gone to Scarborough in the middle of a rainstorm and just do not mind at all. So that's, something. And here's Scarborough's Hollow jumping in right now, open rain or shine, and we're monitoring the live stream. So thank you so much, guys, at Scarborough for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to work with them. It's always a pleasure to be there. Anytime I can wear my kilt, hey, I'm all for it. Yeah, we're hearing the thunder right now. The good news is that let me kind of open the window here so we can monitor what's going on here at the studio. Let's see. Anything bad headed to Corsicana? The good news is the storm that is headed to Corsicana has weakened quite a bit. So in eastern Navarro County right now, we have this storm that did prompt the severe thunderstorm warning, but that's quite a bit weaker here. So not quite as much going on. Now, towards Hubbard, towards Mount Calm here in southern Hill County, looks like you might have a little small area of hail there, but we'll see what that eventually does. All right, let's see. We're under a lightning delay at a softball tournament right now, hoping it clears out. You're not giving me a location, so I'm not sure where you're talking about, Megan. Yeah, so I mean, you're asking about Red Oak and Novello. It will be headed that direction. So expect rain, thunderstorms there in those areas. As far as Whitney is concerned, you do have some heavy rain moving into Whitney right now. There's more back towards Meridian, so that will be eventually headed northeast as well. So this is what we're looking at. We'll kind of get a broader view on this again. So we have severe storms going on in Hamilton County and Coryell County. Right now, that's going to be for let me broaden this out a little bit more. For this storm here, that's headed due east, and possibly some of this activity too, but I'm not too concerned with this at the moment. That may be headed due east, so I'm not terribly concerned about that right now. But the storms that are headed towards, again, Waxahachie, Ennis areas, they're smaller storms, but there's just this little cluster here. There's going to be some heavy rain there. There's going to be some lightning and thunder. The severe storm is falling apart at this point as it moves into eastern Navarro County, southern Ellis County. So for the moment, we do have some heavy rain, lightning, and thunder headed into these festivals. Unfortunately, there again, like I said, these are in downtown areas. Go find a shop to go check out and go support a local business while we have some rain moving through. It's a great opportunity to do that. And Velma, you're asking about a 5 o'clock event in Lancaster. Again, it's a little far out to know because we could be pushing all of this farther to the east and southeast by that point. So hard to say exactly what 5 o'clock is going to look like. We'll need to get a little bit closer to kind of know exactly what Lancaster is going to expect at this point. Hearing that the rain is reaching Waxahachie, so we have these, we'll zoom in on Ellis County. Again, I know that there's a lot of events going on, a lot of large events going on in that area right now. So we just have these little clusters of showers and thunderstorms that have just popped up here in the last few minutes. And those are bringing rain into Waxahachie, probably soon to Ennis as well. These are not severe. There's no severe weather going on in this area. The strongest out of this activity is right around Hubbard. Just a little, what looks like maybe a small hail core here. So we have this storm here. I know there's a lot of folks asking about Waco. We don't usually cover that far south, so we got to stay in our core area here. Here in Whitney, we have this little band lifting in. That's going to be some heavy rain, lightning, thunder, not severe at this point, but that could continue to lift northward and become an issue for northern Hill County, southern Johnson County, and eventually possibly Ellis County. These storms are kind of interesting. They're trying to push, like I talked about, they're trying to push eastward as this other storm did, but we are getting a little bit more of a northeasterly track now. So this could eventually move towards the Ennis area. But again, I want to see what this does before we start talking about an exact track on this one. But there is a lot of lightning out there right now. I can hear the thunder here at the studio. We're here just outside of Waxahachie. It's our location, but right along 35 here, from Waxahachie to Italy to Milford, we have these little patches of heavy rain with lightning throughout that has moved into that area. So at very least, we do have some rain, some lightning and thunder headed towards the Ennis area, but not anything immediately there. And the heaviest of this, again, the heaviest activity, southern Hill County right now. And I'm more concerned about that in parts of eastern Navarro County than reaching Ellis County anytime soon. So that's what we're looking for. Let me, I'm going to keep checking the phone here. Of course, I coordinate with people that are running these events. Yeah, so and that's the thing, is there's going to be some loud lightning and thunder with this one. And don't take that as a surprise, because that's just going to be a part of all of this activity. Yeah, lots of lightning today, just like the storms that we had yesterday morning and last night. Lots of lightning and thunder with these. They're going to make a lot of noise. They're going to drop a lot of rain, and then they'll move out of here. So we have to continue to watch this stuff farther to the southwest to see what that's going to do. There are other severe storms, but at this point it looks like those are not necessarily targeting our area. It looks like those may stay south of us. And of course, that's where the higher risk of severe weather is. But just because the risk of severe weather is pushed south does not necessarily mean that we can't see thunderstorms in our area. So we have this storm now continuing to push through Johnson County, headed towards Burleson, towards Alvarado, moving into Alvarado now, moving towards Venus, towards Mansfield, and on from there into southern Tarrant County. The activity moving into Waxahachie right now and eventually towards Ennis, going to be a little more sporadic here. It's remnants of that severe storm that are moving through Italy and the Frost and Blooming Grove areas right now, but still could be plenty of lightning and thunder. So that's the thing. Even though these storms are not severe, that doesn't necessarily mean they're not dangerous. So as I said, if you're at one of these outdoor events in Waxahachie, you do want to find shelter there. I know there's soccer games and different things going on, and we've had this in the forecast, of course, but Sometimes it's hard to make a call on events like that until, that's why they call it a game time decision, right? Sometimes you got to wait until things really materialize. And you've had plenty of times where we've put rain in the forecast and it turns out to miss us altogether. So, weather's hard to call too far ahead, but we can tell you that we do have rain and lightning and thunder moving into Waxahachie now, and it will eventually be headed to the Ennis area. I mean, it's there in Italy right now. This is weakening here, or at least has been part of a weakening trend. It's the remnants of that storm, so that may not be too terribly intense for that area. But all of this sporadic just stuff, and there's a lot of lift here associated with this part of this storm system that we have been dealing with for the last couple of days. And once this is out of here, I don't think this is going to be a late night. I think we get through this stuff in the afternoon. We're right around peak heating now. So we'll deal with this through the afternoon, and then eventually this impulse, this disturbance will continue on eastward, and we should be getting rid of this stuff. Now, how soon is that? It's hard to say, because the models really have treated this as a situation where the leading edge of this farther south will eventually start to push eastward, and that will pull all of this away from our area. So it's hard to say, but I mean, you can see it's all developing here in Erath County and then proceeding eastward and northeastward. So now we've got new development west of Fort Worth here. So we're kind of on the northern edge of this, but again, you can see that there is kind of this line starting to develop. So as that continues on, as that pushes eastward, that will pull this energy away from here, and we will be able to, get rid of that. But again, how soon does that happen? That's a little uncertain at this point. This storm headed eastward, really headed southeastward almost, towards Killeen, so that may be part of what's going to eventually pull this out of here. But before it does, we do have showers and thunderstorms that are moving through our area. Yes, you can see the little lightning reports here throughout our area. And if you're part of the text message alerts there in Waxahachie that the Crossroads Festival had you sign up for, you're getting those notifications to, take shelter. And again, like I said, there's so many shops. If you're desperate to find cover somewhere, go inside one of those shops and give a local business, a small business, some support and that kind of thing. This is a great opportunity to do that. So I hope that, we've given people enough notice here. Again, as we talked about, the severe storm stayed south, but now we had this new development here that kind of sprung up in between these two storms and filled that gap. I was hoping that gap would stay and maybe Waxahachie and Ennis could miss out, as there's so many outdoor events going on. And it doesn't really look like this is terribly intense here. The rain may not be as heavy as it seems, but there's plenty of lightning and thunder, and that is really what makes the biggest difference. Brent, outside of my wife's long hair started standing up. It was so crazy to watch it happen. Charged atmosphere. Well, I would say that the atmosphere is very charged, considering as much lightning as we have out here. But if that happens, that's when you want to run indoors, because that can be an indication that you could have opposing charges starting to make things happen, could have some lightning in that area. So, Brent, if that happens again, that's when you want to be indoors. So that's the absolute best way to respond to that. Porch Swing Iced Tea LLC, light rain in Waxahachie right now. So yeah, there's going to be some rain there. The main issue is going to be the lightning and thunder. I'll tell you guys, Porch Swing Iced Tea, bar none, best sweet tea and best lemonade in the area. I mean, my gosh, I'm craving it right now. It's so good. And they don't pay me a dime. They just have my heart. I mean, I am a lemonade connoisseur anyway. Porch Swing Iced Tea they are the standard bearers for sure. So what's moving through Ellis County right now, it's not a severe storm. It's nothing that is of any kind of severe criteria. It's just a light rainstorm. It has a lot of energy that's been carried off of this formerly severe storm here. So just a lot of, just a very energized atmosphere right now, a very unstable atmosphere. So lots of lightning and thunder there. It may not necessarily be a whole lot of rain. And in fact, it may seem a little bit dissonant in terms of how much rain are we looking at versus how much lightning and thunder are we hearing may not seem to make sense, but there is a very charged atmosphere for sure. Hearing thunder in Red Oak, perfect for a nap. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the kind of weather, at least for the moment in Red Oak, where you don't really have to pay that much attention. There's not anything severe going on right now. I don't foresee that in the near future for our area. This storm in eastern Navarro County, this small cell that just went through Hubbard, that's going to be headed towards, eventually towards Corsicana. We'll take a quick look at that, because that may be a bit of a heavier cell there. So near Hubbard, headed towards Dawson, eventually might make its way up towards Corsicana. There might be some small hail there, but not a whole lot. Lexi, you're asking how severe is the storm going to be through frost? Well, there's not really anything much headed there right now. So again, we just kind of have the remnants of this storm as they're moving through. And then there's going to be some lightning and thunder. It's going to make some noise, going to drop a little bit of rain, and then it'll be over. Now, as far as these storms are concerned, some of this is still lifting northeasterly a little bit. So if that moves through, it's not severe at this time. But again, heavy rain, lightning, thunder, maybe some breezy, gusty winds there with that storm going on from there. So Judy, what I'll tell you, you said all these severe storms, I would not suggest taking a nap. Well, this is a perfect time. This is a perfect time to talk about weather call. If you do want to take a nap and get some rest, which trust me, at this moment, if I could be napping, I would love to. But if you want a system that's going to wake you up in the case of a warning, this is what we're looking at in terms of a situation where you can take that nap, you can go to sleep, leave the phone ringer on, and then if there is a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning issued for your particular area, it's going to light up your phone, you're going to hear that ring, it's going to wake you up, and you can take action. So I just put that link in the chat there. Weather Call, a great system. You're going to get a phone call from me if one of those warnings is issued, so that you can stay informed here. Okay, so we're getting some information from the Crossroads of Texas Country Festival right now. Okay, so let me kind of bring this update. Let me just confirm that this is public information. We've got some updated information here, so I'm going to see if I can share this on the air before I do. I've done that before, but I've done that before where I got some information and wasn't ready for public consumption yet, and I wasn't told that, so I want to make sure before we share that. But we do have more heavy rain kind of getting loaded up here. So you can see what's moving through Waxahachie here. It's not a big storm, but it's just enough to bring some lightning, bring some rain through, just a small patch of maybe some heavy rain. Same in Italy, same near Frost there. So just enough to disrupt things moving through. And then we do have more heavy rain in Whitney, also headed towards Hillsborough, headed into the, moving through Abbott right now, eventually moving up towards the rest of Hill County, possibly southern Ellis County here, and we'll see what this does as well. We've had some of these cells that have just not been able to hold it together. So these particular storms, they may not make it all the way to Ellis County. So that's why I try to be cautious on, hey, this is going to be all the way over here at this, in this location, but I try to be cautious with that. I try not to give too much certain information when it's not immediately clear if those storms are going to, if those storms are going to make it all that direction or all that distance. So in the Midlothian, I know somebody asked about Midlothian. Here we have a storm. This is what's left of all of that moving through Johnson County, moving into Burleson now, into the Venus area up towards Mansfield. Midlothian, you'll get clipped by this, but there's not anything severe at this time. So no severe weather for that area at this moment, but that storm is headed into southern Tarrant County, eventually parts of far northwestern Ellis County, parts of far southwestern Dallas County. So that storm, not severe. Lots of heavy rain with that one. Same situation farther to the south here. So near Hubbard, we had this little storm here that's going to continue on to the east. And again, I think we're going to start to see, in fact, if we zoom this out a little bit, I think we're starting to see here, if you watch this, right, you can start to see kind of this line, kind of this movement southeastward. Do you see that? You see that progressing here? You see that progression here as well? Eventually, that's going to continue southeastward, and that's going to pull all of this energy away. So I don't think we're going to have to deal with this too much longer. So, okay, I've been given the green light here. I have information from the Crossroads to Texas Country Festival. I know that there's some folks down there that are watching this. So the carnival and main stage entertainment is temporarily paused. That is for their safety and yours. As of now, 2:45 p.m. So this was actually about 45 minutes ago. The Randall King concert is scheduled to take place as planned. However, safety is paramount, and yeah. So just be prepared for. And those changes are including the Rail Yard Park stage. So just understand that whether it's the festival in Waxahachie or possibly over in Ennis, keep in mind that those areas, I mean, there may be some changes going on. So you want to make sure you're tuned in, plugged in to event coordinators. You're listening, you're aware. Hopefully in Waxahachie, you have found, again, somewhere, some small business in the area to check out. If you're in a booth, just, spend your time, just get under that cover and hang out there if you don't want to go indoors somewhere. So, just going to make sure I'm getting these updates too. So I'm seeing that Texas Tech ran a kickoff back for a touchdown, which sounds right. So love that. But I'm eventually going to be watching for all of this to continue moving southeastward, and that will eventually pull all of this away. So we're getting some of this initial rain here, but I do not think we're going to have to deal with this too much more of the afternoon. So here's what we are dealing with right now. We have some of the more isolated kind of scattered showers going through Ellis County right now. There's lightning that is kind of embedded in all of this, and that is what will cause some concern at some of these outdoor events. Here north of Cleburne in the Burleson area, over towards Venus, headed towards, Kennedale and southern Tarrant County here, over towards Mansfield as well. So that's what we're looking at in terms of that storm that is not severe at this time, but it is headed into southern parts of Tarrant County and eventually possibly far western Dallas County there. So that's kind of headed out of our area. Once it moves through Burleson, once it clears out of Mansfield, we'll continue to move on towards Fort Worth, Arlington, those areas. As far as our particular area, we do have some of this rain kind of expanding here. It's moving through Whitney and Hillsboro right now. This will continue to move northeastward. And so this could be what's next for Waxahachie, for Ennis, for Grandview and Venus and Cleburne and Midlothian and all these different places. I know there's a lot of outdoor events right now. So we're getting some of it now, have kind of another wave setting up farther to the south. And again, this stuff is just sporadic. The main issue is going to be the lightning. That is the most concerning issue right now. We don't have any severe weather. Here northeast of Hubbard, there could be just a very small area of small hail. You blink, you miss it. So, but there's nothing severe at this time. I don't think that there's anything particularly damaging. We'll take a quick look at winds here, see if there's anything concerning. And yeah, I'm just not seeing anything in terms of the winds that is causing too much of an issue. So at least at these outdoor events, none of this looks particularly destructive in terms of those wind speeds. And as far as the hail is concerned as well, yeah, we could have a little bit of hail here in the Dawson area. Very small hail, pea-sized hail just mixed in with the rain, but that's going to be about it. So not much severe weather at this time. That's the good news. The bad news is, though, there's still plenty of lightning to cause some problems at these outdoor events. If you're in Waxahachie, things are going to start calming down here. There may still be some lighter rain. Headed towards Ennis, there's some rain with maybe some lightning and thunder mixed in. There's a break here, but farther south, we do have more of this mixed in, just patches of heavy rain, that kind of thing, moving that way. So let's put this back into motion here. And you can see, again, some patches of heavy rain. I want to see what this does, though. This is moving through Hill County, through Whitney right now. Whitney, you're getting plenty of rain, right towards Itasca, right towards Grandview, and this could eventually make its way into Ellis County. And a good rain going at the studio right now, so, north of Waxahachie. So we're seeing that as well. But Hubbard, Dawson, this is probably the heaviest of this. Some of that just northeast of Clifton as well, headed towards Whitney. So there are other heavy storms headed our way, but nothing severe at this time. So that's going to be the primary benefit to all of this. And bringing this farther out, we do have severe weather down near Gatesville. That's going to be headed eastward towards the Gatesville area. That should stay south of us. That may eventually make it towards the Waco area in the next hour or so. But for our particular area, this is what we're looking at. Once we get through these initial waves, I think that the rest of this may slide south of us and go on to the southeast. That's what the models have kind of been hinting at here. So I do think that will probably be the trend. So again, rain moving through parts of Hill and eventually Navarro counties here, and this could continue to move northward towards Johnson and Ellis counties. So we will continue to monitor that here. Nothing severe for these areas right now, so just kind of keep that in mind. Off to the west, there are some showers here that are generally, I think, going to continue to move northeasterly, so I don't think that our particular area will have to deal with those as much. But these showers, we have this one in Whitney and Hillsborough headed northward. That will eventually make its way. And then we have some just, kind of spotty at this point rain making its way into eastern Navarro County, far south eastern Hill County, and then western Navarro County. Let me fix that. And on from there. So we're going to wrap up live coverage so that I can check in with some of the folks running these festivals. We can communicate. I'll continue to post these updates on the Facebook page here as well. I'm going to make sure you're informed, but this is going to give me a chance to kind of look at the bigger picture, see what we might have for the next couple of hours. Stay tuned to South Metro Weather. If we have a return of severe weather, we will bring that to you. But for now, there is lightning and thunder embedded in this, but it's mostly a rain event here in north central Texas. So if you're at these events, again, make sure you're plugged into people who are organizing those events, that you stay safe, stay weather aware, and hey, you stay safe, you're still going to have fun out there. So stay tuned to South Metro Weather. More updates are coming throughout the afternoon.
A smile upon your face, and I see something shimmering in your eyes. And they say if you want to glimpse the future, you need space. And you said you'll put down your morning guns. Would you follow me to wander? My hand and walk beside me in a whirl of thunder. Fear is an imposter. When you look at me this way, I find it hard to not